Some time ago, in I believe the spring of 2020, shortly after the announcement of COVID-19 pandemic, or what I understand people want to try to characterize as a pandemic, I found an item that somebody had tried to throw out in the garbage on the street. It was a black case, and inside the black case was a heat lamp and some samples of windows, different kinds of windows, different thicknesses of windows. The person at this address had told me his father had a unique construction involving windows in buildings, including around Dallas, and actually showed me a building where he said that his father had actually created the windows. He actually designed the windows for that specific building. Every time we go by, he says his father did that. That letter concerning his estate, my understanding is, insofar as you guys participated in this little scam here in Texas, where you kidnap women, maybe men too, and you put some fake lease on them as a mineral interest and then justify it because you create a trust for recovery, and you created a fake trust at this address, or I'm sorry, maybe it was a legitimate trust for recoveries of things that were dispossessed of him prior to meeting me, and yet the trust was not established until after meeting me. Anything connected to the recovery of any estate that perhaps was illegally dispossessed and then ended up materializing somewhere else that needed to be actually acquired as a recovery was just delivered to him by 8:45 p.m. tonight on July 29, 2021. Now I had it here and logged in as evidence, waiting for somebody to be honest about what they were doing. The real property of concern is not this actual place. That's not what that is. And his trust is not that either. You guys have not been honest, but insofar as you've tried to protractedly draw this out, I'm calling it today. None of the minor students I've ever had anything to do with, none of my family members, nobody I ever worked with was ever allowed to be accessible through you. Period. And if you needed some sort of equivalency to show that somebody had his interest at heart, well, the same should have been said for him. And if you guys were not absolutely involved with exploiting him in order to try to aid and abet an extortion effort, at best, if not an outright co-conspiracy to lure women into this room like whoever Judy is, who's the fuck is Blue Judy? Who the fuck are all of these women whose names are on mail directly to this address? Because I contend you lure women in here on site, and what's the maximum amount of time you let them stay inside before there's some justification for putting them back on the street so somebody else can start up the circuit? Well, I'm sorry, that option is terminated. If you ever had a just cause or anything remotely legal claim about any recoveries that justified a trust to be established in order to provide for the yields of a recovery in connection with the legal codes I have right now in my evidence, it's just been delivered to him. You were the guys that wanted to start this based on some sort of derivatives economy. You know, there are laws about appropriate derivatives and appropriate use of derivatives. There's also trillions and trillions of dollars of derivatives in the economy. And there is a ripe for exploitation field that also includes illegal derivative litigation. And if you thought that you could get and tag on at the end of a 15-year lease on my mineral interest and then claim something for yourself as part of a fee associated with brokering the long-term deal for someone else and their trust, including a trust that did not exist when this lease was first set up on me, too bad. Delivered in full today. You can go to him and you can get the inventory and then you can do the appraisal and you can do the assessment. My understanding of my arrangement here, which has been put in writing and has been given to him and has also been put in writing, is that I was allowed to stay here free of rent without any obligations until I got on my feet. But every step of the way, whatever you all set up in this illegal trust arrangement has intentionally sabotaged me. And now there are very, very, very serious legal implications for that. So if you set up some sort of other deal that you're trying to lean on him in regards to concerning a recovery as part of his trust, delivered in full today. Everything else you stole, you're going to be held accountable for. You had no right to that. If there was any just cause claim and if there was any suspicion or any concern that I might have been involved in anything illegal, your duty was to come to me. You represented yourself as a former school teacher. You allowed yourself to be represented as a member of the State Bar of Texas. That is exactly how you're going to be treated.